Hello, welcome back to the reading of the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 3, Chapter 348, Part 4, The Transfiguration and the Curing of the Epileptic. Jesus comes forward a few steps to be close to him and says, "How long has that been happening to him? Speak in a loud voice so that everybody may hear you." And while the crowds press closer and the scribes go above Jesus to dominate the scene, the man shouting says, "Since he was a boy, I told you he often falls on the fire, into water, or down the steps, or from trees, because the spirit attacks him suddenly and throws him about to kill him. He is covered with scars and burns. He is lucky that the flames of the fireplace have not blinded him. No doctor, no exorciser, not even your disciples have been able to cure him. But you, if, as I firmly believe, can do something, have mercy on us and help us. If you can believe thus, everything is possible to me, because everything is granted to those who believe." "Oh Lord, I do believe. But if I do not believe sufficiently, increase my faith, so that it may be complete, and I may obtain the miracle," says the man weeping, while he kneels beside his son, who has fallen into a more severe convulsive fit. Jesus straightens himself up, takes 2 steps back, and while the circle of the crowd presses closer and closer, he shouts loudly, "Cursed spirit, who makes this boy deaf and mute and torture him, I order you, go out of him and never go back into him." The boy, although lying on the ground, bounces frightfully, arches his back with feet and head on the ground, utters inhuman cries, and after a last bounce, he turns round, falls flat on his face, striking his forehead and mouth against a large stone emerging from the grass, which becomes stained with blood and lies motionless. "He is dead!" many shout. "Poor boy! Poor father!" says the better ones, pitying them. And the scribes, sneering, say, "The Nazarene has served you well," or, "Master, how come? Beelzebub has made you cut a bad figure this time." And they laugh spitefully. Jesus replies to no one, not even to the father, who has turned his son round and is wiping the blood off the injured forehead and lips, moaning and imploring Jesus. And the master bends, taking the child by the hand, and the boy opens his eyes with a deep sigh, as if he were awaking from sleep. He sits up and smiles. Jesus draws him close to himself, makes him stand up, and hands him to his father, while the crowds cheer enthusiastically, and the scribes run away, chased by the mockery of the crowd. "And now let us go," says Jesus to his disciples. And after dismissing the crowds, he goes round the side of the mountain towards the road along which he came in the morning. Jesus says, and here, PM can now put the comment on the vision of August 5th, 1944, copybook A, 930, beginning from the words, "I am not choosing you for the only purpose of making you acquainted with the sadness and sorrows of your master. Those who are able to stay with me, sharing my grief, must share my glory as well. And you, my faithful little John, have a rest, because you well deserve it. May my peace bring joy to you." 5th August, 1944. Jesus says, "I am not choosing you for the only purpose of making you acquainted with the sadness and the sorrows of your master. Those who are able to stay with me, sharing my grief, must share my joy as well. When you are before your Jesus and he shows himself to you, I want you to have the same feelings of humility and repentance as my apostles had. You must never be proud. You would be punished by losing me. You must always bear in mind who I am and who you are. You must always remember your faults affection, so that your heart may be cleansed by contrition. But at the same time you must put so much trust in me. I said, "Be not afraid, stand up, let us go. Let us go among men, because I have come to be with them. Be holy, strong, and faithful in remembrance of this hour. I say so also to you, and to all my favorites among men, to those who have me in a special way. Be not afraid of me. I show myself to you to elevate you all, not to incinerate you. Stand up. May the joy of the gift give you energy, and do not let it blunt your minds with the savor of quietism, considering yourselves already saved, because I have shown heaven to you. Let us go together among men. I have invited you to superhuman deeds by means of superhuman visions and lessons, so that you may be of greater help to me. I make you partners in my work, but I have never had, and I never have a minute's rest, because evil never rests, and good must be always active to make void the work of the enemy as much as possible. We shall rest when the time is accomplished. Now we must proceed untiringly. We must work continuously and sacrifice ourselves unremittingly for the harvest of God. May my continuous contact sanctify you. May my continuous teaching fortify you. And may my fond love for you make you faithful against all snares. Do not be like the old rabbis who taught the revelation but did not believe in it. To the extent of not being able to recognize the signs of the times and the messengers of God, ensure that you recognize the precursors of the Christ in his second coming, because the powers of the Antichrist are on the march, and making an exception on the limit I have imposed on myself, because I know that you drink in certain truths, not with a supernatural spirit, but out of thirst for human curiosity. I solemnly tell you that what many people think is the victory over the Antichrist, the peace now close at hand, will be only a pause to give the enemy of the Christ time to acquire new strength, to dress his wounds and gather his army for a fiercer struggle. Since you are the voices of your Jesus, of the King of Kings, of the faithful and truthful King, who judges and fights with justice, and will defeat the beast and his servants and prophets, ensure that you know what is your good and follow it forever. Let no false appearance entice you. Let no persecution terrify you. Let your voices repeat my words. Let your lives be devoted to this work. And if on earth you should share the same destiny as the Christ, as his precursor and Elijah, a sanguinary destiny, or a destiny subjected to moral torture, smile at the future safe destiny you will enjoy with the Christ, with his precursor and his prophet. We shall be equal in our work, in our grief, in our glory. Here I am the master and the example. There I shall be the reward and the king. To have me will be your blessedness. It will mean forgetting sorrow. It will be what no revelation is yet sufficient to make you understand, because the joy of the future life is by far superior to the possibility of imagination of a human creature still joined to a human body. This has been a reading from the poem of the Man God, written by Marie Valtorta, Volume 3, Chapter 348, Part 4, The Transfiguration and the Curing of the Epileptic. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow. May God bless you, and may peace be with you.